Nuruddin ordered to dig a deep trench around the sacred chamber. He filled this trench with molten lead. In this way, nobody will ever be able to reach the graves through underground tunnels. It will be appropriate to mention here that the Sultan stayed in a house in Medina called Dar al-Ziyafa and distributed charity to the residents of Medina from this location. This house existed just outside the door known as Bab Umar. This house was included in the Prophet's mosque during the second Saudi extension of the mosque. The site where the lead was melted was just outside Bab al-Salam and was known as Saqifat al-Rasas. When Qamash market caught fire on the 18th Rajab, 1397 Hijrah, this house was also burnt in the fire. The house where the Christians stayed and dug the tunnel was located outside the present window, across the sacred chamber, in the southernmost wall of the mosque. Sultan Nuruddin rahimahullah also constructed universities and mosques in all these cities he controlled. These universities were principally concerned with teaching the Quran and Ahadith. Sultan Nuruddin rahimahullah himself enjoyed memorizing and learning Ahadith. His shuyukh even awarded him an ijaza in Hadith. He had free hospitals constructed in his cities as well, and built caravanserais on the roads for travelers and pilgrims. He held court several times a week so that people could seek justice from him against his generals, governors, or other employees who had committed some crime. In the Muslim world, he remains a legendary figure of military courage, piety, and modesty. Even his foes, the Christians, said that he loved above all else justice. The famed historian, geographer, and poet Sheikh Abu al-Hussein Muhammad ibn Jubayr rahimahullah detailed the fourth attempt to remove the blessed body of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, on the 29th of Dhul Qa'dah, 578 after Hijrah, I arrived in Alexandria during my excursion tour of Egypt. We left Alexandria on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. We saw there that a very big crowd of people had come out of their homes to see the Roman Christian prisoners. These prisoners were brought to the city on camels with their faces towards the tails of the camels. Bugles were being blown and other music was being played around them. We inquired about these prisoners. We were given a detailed picture of their cruel activities, which was as follows. The Christians of Syria had built some boats near Mediterranean Sea and transported these boats on the backs of camels to the shores of the Red Sea. There they equipped the boats for war activities. They then set out in the sea with these boats and plundered the caravans of pilgrims for Mecca. When they reached the river Nam, they burnt 16 boats of other people. Then they reached S.A.W. and captured a caravan of pilgrims coming from Jeddah. Similarly, they overpowered a caravan which was traveled from Qaws towards S.A.W. and slayed all the people. 2 boats of traders were coming from Yemen with food grain for Mecca and Medina. They burned the storage of this food grain. They carried out many such criminal activities. Their most treacherous plan was to remove the body of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from the sacred chamber. They announced it boldly and started heading towards Medina. When they were about 1 day's journey away from Medina, the famous Haji Lulu came with a few Moroccan youths who were experts in sea warfare. They arrested these Christians and took some of them out. They also sent some of those prisoners to other cities to be put to sword. Some prisoners were sent to Mecca and Medina. The prisoners whom we saw were brought to Alexandria. In this way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from these criminals. Tabari, the famous historian, has described how the 5th attempt took place. The head of the service personnel of the Prophet's mosque was Shamsuddin S.A.W. Lamti, who was a very gentle and kind person. S.A.W. said that he had a close friend who happened to be known to the ruler of Medina. This friend often kept him informed about the major news. One day, this friend said to S.A.W., a big event is about to take place. Some people have come from Halb in Syria. They have bribed the ruler of Medina and have demanded from him the bodies of Abu Bakr radiallahu an and Umar radiallahu an. The ruler has consented to it. S.A.W got very worried. Shortly afterwards, a messenger of the ruler of Medina came and took S.A.W to the ruler. The ruler said to S.A.W, some people will knock at the door of the Prophet's mosque at night. Open the door for them and let them do what they want to do. Don't interfere in any way. S.A.W said that he answered the ruler the way the ruler wanted him to answer. He then came back and I was crying bitterly. After Salatul Isha, the doors of the Prophet's mosque were closed as usual. Shortly afterwards, somebody knocked at the door, known as Babu Salam. The ruler of Medina used to live in a fort in front of Babu Salam. S.A.W opened the door. 40 people entered the mosque. He was counting them one by one. They had equipments to demolish buildings and were carrying torches with them. They were heading towards the sacred chamber. They had not yet even reached the pulpit when the earth split under their feet and they were buried with their equipment then and there. There was no sign left about their presence on the surface of the earth. Allahu Akbar. The ruler waited for them for a while. Finally, he sent for S.A.W and asked him, S.A.W, did some people not come to you? He said, yes, indeed. They were, however, buried in the earth. The ruler said, think before you speak. How can this happen? S.A.W invited him to see the spot with his own eyes. The ruler said, leave the matter as it is. Don't mention this to anybody. Samhudi said, Abu Muhammad Abdullah Margani has also described this plot briefly in the history of Medina. He has, however, mentioned that the number of these people was 15 or 20, and they were swallowed by the earth when they had gone only a few steps towards a sacred chamber. Note that the enemies of Allah make plans, and Allah also makes plans. However, Allah is the best planners. Indeed, Allah fulfilled His promise to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah will protect you from the people.